T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. My life has value.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Global Watchman News Live broadcast. If you are new, please hit the subscribe button and bell. And if you are in the live chat, please keep the discussions family friendly. Thank you. Welcome to everybody on Global Watchman News Live and Global Watchman News 2, also on Twitch. And also we are on Exposing Satanic World Government on Facebook. I'm Robbie D, your host, and I've got my glorious co-host here, Laurie Alexander Swan. How you doing, Laurie?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I've got absolutely no idea what I'm doing here tonight, but I'd rather be here than underneath a bridge after crossing the Rio Grande. Let me tell you that.
Well, I wasn't going to do a live until I've been doing the news blasts at noon on the channel. 15, 30 minutes, whatever, just kind of a news blast on things that the mainstream media are not talking about. Since last Wednesday, we've been talking about La Palma before the volcano went off. We got talking about the things that have through the years, through telegraphing, through the movies, through Hollywood, talking about the mega tsunami that's going to be hitting the east or could be hitting the East Coast. And so, I finished up my news blast today, and I'm sitting here and I'm looking at all of the information that's coming towards me.
Mm-hmm.
And I went onto Facebook and there was a post and somebody was showing, I'm going to pull it up because it's pictures worth 1,000 words. Let's just say that. Here we have it right here. This is a map. Make sure that we have it big here for us. Right here we have a map of the world. And I know it's kind of small to see, but on this map, it is a list of currently active volcanoes. I want you guys to pay attention to this map because we are only hearing right now about La Palma. You woke me up this morning, Robbie, and you told me about Etna.
Mm-hmm. I did indeed. Yeah, I told you literally, because I was up pretty much all night last night, so I'm very tired tonight. I've been up for the last 24 hours with my podcast that I put together,
Right.
and this morning, well, it was about 2 o'clock this afternoon, about 7 o'clock your time.
Mm-hmm.
It's up about 1 o'clock. Yeah, it's about 8 o'clock your time.
It was about 8 o'clock. You called me.
Yeah. And I basically informed you that I'd been on the YouTube minding my own business as you do, and a video came up. A video literally, which was 2 hours old, informing the world that Mount Etna had exploded. In the comments section, somebody had informed us that it had erupted about 50 times this year, so it wasn't actually anything new, but it just so happens that, Etna that's in Sicily, is that right?
Yeah, it's in it's in Italy.
Yeah, not that far away from Spain or the Canary Islands, really, in relation to volcanic activity. And my thought is that, these things, I mean, the scriptures tell you about, earthquakes and things in diverse places and whatnot, yeah. But we also know that the elite have got the technology to actually make these events happen. I mean, I know it sounds a bit of a stretch, but believe you me, we've seen the paperwork. Yeah, it's it's not conspiracy theory or science fiction or anything like that. They can actually make these things happen. And we've watched La Palma. We've seen the volcanic activity in Iceland, but obviously, according to this map, there's a lot of activity now. I hazard ventured an opinion that it looks like they're pushing the boat out. All these volcanoes all suddenly erupting one after the other, going from west to east. It seems like there's a pattern forming.
Yeah, I made it a little bit bigger here. I mean, right now we're hearing about La Palma, Etna, Iceland, and the one off of Alaska. So those are the four that we're kind of hearing about. Unrest, a warning, or are erupting. Look at these. We've got Stromboli, Etna, La Palma, Great Sitkin, Seismopachoe, Yasser. These are just the red ones. That's totally.
You're gonna have to spend a day pronouncing all these words.
Yeah, that's totally.
Yeah. Not just that, it's all we'll have a day with it, won't we?
Yeah, right. But I mean, guys, you can see. I don't need to read them off to you, but look at all these reds, the ones in red, and we are not seeing anything talked about on the mainstream media. Apparently, yesterday, I think it was yesterday. Yesterday, somebody went to Biden and they were talking to him about La Palma, and he said that they were not going to make a public statement because they didn't want to panic the people.
He also said it was his favorite flavor of ice cream, did he not?
Right. And this is not anything that is new. I mean, I've just started talking about this since last Wednesday when we were starting to see the uptick in the earthquakes. We knew that it was going to go. It did.
Yeah.
We covered that live this morning.
Yeah.
This morning, you guys, I showed you the video, and I showed you the houses that were just being trampled on. The magma did hit the water off the island about 8 o'clock last night, their time. And this morning, more vents had been opening up. There has been people reporting that there's a very strong sulfur smell.
Mm-hmm.
And they are expecting a bigger bigger eruption. Now, like I said, this is nothing new. This is something that, scientists have been warning about. I just found this video. This is from 3 years ago. It's kind of a short video. I'm going to play it here.
Both tsunamis and natural disasters that have already happened, but I've never made a video about a natural disaster that hasn't happened yet. Tsunamis, as I'm sure you know, are some of the most devastating forces in nature, but every now and then, nature likes to take something that's already scary and multiplies it. This is where the rare events called mega tsunamis come in, and there's one in the future that some scientists are predicting will happen eventually. The generation of mega tsunamis may be most important to understand in the Atlantic, mostly because of the large number of active oceanic volcanic islands and the fact that some of these volcanoes are showing early signs of instability. The most infamous of these is located here in the Canary Islands off the coast of West Africa, the Cumbre Vieja volcano on the island of La Palma.
Real quick, just want to emphasize this was done 3 years ago.
It's erupted several times in the past, most recently in 1949 and again in 1971, but a paper written later in 1999 by a geologist named Simon Day was the first to notice that something seemed strange. It appeared to him that the western flank of the volcano was beginning to become unstable and was in the initial stages of a collapse. Several future papers written about it hypothesized that with each future eruption, this flank would become even more unstable until at some uncertain point in the future, an eruption would be big enough to cause the entire chunk to come crashing down into the ocean. How big of a chunk would this be? Well, a paper written back in 2005 estimates that it would be between 150 and 500 cubic kilometers worth of rock, which is a lot. In the worst case scenario of 500 cubic kilometers, it would slam into the ocean and create an initial water dome of 900 meters tall, which is taller than the Burj Khalifa is in Dubai. That would be an incredible sight to see alone, but then according to this paper, the really bad stuff happens next. The dome would quickly transform into a wave about 600 meters high and surge westwards at speeds up to 720 kilometers per hour, about the same speed as a jet aircraft. Several 100-meter high Titanic tsunamis will crash on the western shores of the Canary Islands, and shortly after, smaller 50 to 100-meter high waves will impact the African west coast. Meanwhile, a solid wave 500 kilometers across surges westwards across the Atlantic towards America. Since the Canary Islands acted like the Jupiter for Europe and took most of the tsunamis blow in that direction, small waves between 5 and 7 meters will impact the shores of Spain and England and cause only minor damage. Finally, after traveling for about 9 hours, the first part of the wave hit Americas. After for so long, the tsunami will have lost most of its size, but even still, high waves will hit the coast of Newfoundland and Canada, while larger 15 to 20 meter high waves impact the northern coast of South America from Brazil to Venezuela. Unfortunately for Florida, though, they will end up taking the brunt of the tsunami's power here. 20 to 25 meter high waves will crash across the east coast of the state and severely damage cities like Miami and Jacksonville. The waves here will be about the same size as the waves of the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami in Indonesia, and similar-sized 10 to 25 meter high waves will crash across the rest of the U.S. East Coast, which would definitely damage cities like Charleston, New York, and Boston. While all of that sounds pretty horrible, it's very important to take all of this with a grain of salt. This is a worst-case scenario based on a scientific paper that itself has received a pretty fair amount of criticism from other scientists for sounding too alarmist. Mega tsunamis generated from a volcanic collapse like this appear to be common on a geological timescale, as there is evidence to show that it's happened dozens of times in the Atlantic alone over the past million years, but that's still incredibly uncommon on a human timescale. The only time in recorded human history that a similar event to this has happened so far was in 1888 on Ritter Island in Papua New Guinea, when a volcano erupted and caused a 5 cubic kilometer chunk of rock to collapse into the ocean. This did cause a relatively large tsunami, 15 meters high, that damaged the surrounding islands, but it was hardly the gigantic size that could happen in the Cumbre Vieja scenario. Further, the scenario that I just described is the worst case scenario. It's possible that if the western flank of the island does collapse, it would be significantly less mass, which would create a significantly smaller tsunami that may not be even capable of crossing the Atlantic. Even if the worst case scenario does happen, it probably won't happen at any point in any of our lifetimes.
Okay. You guys get the drift. Put the link in the description.
I can rest easy now. Good night.
It will probably happen several.
Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Wrong one. Okay. So yeah, so this is something that's been predicted for a number of decades. They've been waiting for this. And I think it was quite interesting that first off, he says that it could be equivalent to the tidal wave that happened at, Christmas Day. In Indonesia, that killed all those
Boxing
people.
Day, you mean? Boxing Day 2004.
It was Boxing Day.
Yeah.
Killed all of those people.
Absolutely devastating. It was devastating.
Yeah, absolutely. And then he goes on to say, but that's the worst case scenario. I get that it's worse. I get that, but again, all right. So, and then I showed you guys this right here. How far inland would it travel? I guess I showed you that. You guys should have already gotten that link. Again, it'll be in the description. Okay, so let's fast forward to today. We talked about, I showed you guys this little tidbit right here with Russia. We listened to Putin tell in his own words that Russia has a new weapon. They are bombs that go onto their submarines and their ships that are capable of triggering 300-foot tsunami. So that would be a mega tsunami. Not only that, but they would be radioactive, meaning that they would be nuclear in origin. So, yeah, okay. So now with that. All right, let's think about this for a minute. Okay, so we know that they have the capability. They have an earthquake machine. Mm-hmm. They have the tsunami bombs that we'll just call them tsunami bombs from Russia. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they have this Project Thor. Project Thor is what they are called around the circles, is called the Rods of God. It's a space-based super weapon, a low orbit super weapon. The United States Air Force is reportedly considering the deployment of a highly sophisticated new weapon system in space, which is certainly under development under Project Thor.
Wow. I'll go past under development. I've actually seen it in action.
Well,
twice.
Exactly. So I decided to do a little bit of research on the Rods of God. We've talked about the Rods of God before when we're talking about black projects and stuff like that. But I'm going to put this up here.
I'm going to stop you there. We haven't talked about it. We've actually given examples of it in action.
Yes. We believe that the Rods of God will possibly use. I know of. Well, where was that? It was used in.
It was used in China.
China. What was that one last year?
And it was also used in Lebanon.
Lebanon. That was the one.
Yes.
You guys remember the Lebanon explosion where we got a hold of that video. We slowed it down and we showed you. It wasn't a missile. It was too thin. It was too long. And You're going to see it right now in action.
Three, two, one, drop.
Let's find out about the rods of God which shown tremendous impact in the movie G.I. Joe 2. Rods of God is a new weapon being developed by U.S. Air Force that developing the same weapon under the name of the Canes of God. Rods of God has already started to develop since the 1980s. At the beginning, it was planned to drop about 100 tons of spheres, but with the problem of the cost of orbital placement due to its heavy weight, it was converted into a way of destroying ground targets by rapidly dropping thin depleted uranium or tungsten rods. It is a good strategy to reduce weight and increase speed by making it into a rod shape, because the kinetic energy is proportional to the weight and proportional to the square of the velocity. The choice of increasing the velocity is much more effective. Rods of God is planned to destroy a huge area by dropping 12 tungsten rods from an altitude of 1,000 kilometers. Rods of God is a terrifying weapon with many advantages. As it is dropped from a satellite, it can hit the target quickly around the world. Also, the tremendous speed of 11 kilometers per second makes it possible to strike anywhere on the Earth in just 15 minutes. And since there is no power source, it does not emit electromagnetic waves, so detection as well as interception is almost impossible. Rods of God is an environmentally friendly weapon. It may sound crazy, but it is an environmentally friendly weapon because it emits no radioactive contamination, unlike nuclear bomb. Even it gives fatal damage by vaporizing the surface of ground into a plasma state. And rods of God can be an effective strike weapon, since the bunker busters are becoming ineffective. Because more and more facilities, such as command centers and weapons facilities, are hiding deep within the ground bunkers. It is a fiction that rods of God has the power of nuclear bomb. The idea is to drop a 10 tons of tungsten rod in the speed of 11 kilometers per second. The kinetic energy of an object with 10 tons and 11 kilometers per second is 605 gigajoules. The explosive energy of 1 ton of TNT is 4.184 gigajoules, so the kinetic energy of rods of God is 144 tons of TNT. It is way less power than the nuclear bomb, which is 12,000 tons of TNT and used in Hiroshima. However, it has more destructive power than MOAB and ATBIP, known as the most powerful conventional bombs. But there are a lot of obstacles to be deployed. First, the cost of placing tens of tons of tungsten rods on orbit is very expensive. The cost of placing 1 kilogram object on orbit is about $50,000 US. The cost of only placing a 10 tons of tungsten rod to space is about $500 million US. 12 pieces cost $6 billion US. It is not efficient before the breakthrough of technological transition to space. The other obstacle is a violation of the Prohibition of Satellite Weaponization by Outer Space Treaty in 1967 and Strategic Arms Limitation Talks in 1977. The deployment of rods of God is almost impossible due to those treaties.
Okay. There's only one treaty that has ever been signed and not broken, and that is the Treaty of Antarctica.
Antarctica, the Antarctic Treaty.
The Antarctic Treaty, exactly. So, so that I think is pretty much null and void when it comes to it. That is a couple of years old. All right, so here we have the earthquake machine, the tsunami bomb that the Russians have, and now the rods of God. Those are three things right now that could be utilized to make the impression of, or I'm sorry, to bring forward a mega tsunami. So, yeah, these three cards, Illuminati cards, have not been played yet. Robbie, what do you think of that?
I'm just looking now at the last one, combined disasters, meteor strike. Yeah, they keep showing us about meteor strikes in the movies. I mean, the biggest ones was Deep Impact and Armageddon, two major Hollywood movies that were actually run concurrent with each other within a couple of weeks of each other, which is quite odd. There's a another meteor movie about to come out, and there's also there's a movie, I discussed it earlier with you, that is a movie about the moon scraping the earth.
Yeah, that's bizarre to me.
A very bizarre movie indeed. The timing is very bizarre as well.
Mm-hmm.
I know that it'd be very impossible for a meteor or an asteroid to hit the earth, considering that we live within the firmament, the biblical firmament, but the elite wants to believe that we live on a spinning globe that spins in the path of meteorites and comets and whatnot.
Which would mean that they would have to artificially reenact a supposed event.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what if I told you that there was something? You guys remember Event 201? Event 201 was the
Yes. No.
simulation of the release of, or the simulation of a thing we're not supposed to talk about. And it was right before the actual event occurred.
Went live 6 weeks
Yeah.
after the event.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guess what?
What? Go on, tell us. Show us.
Asteroid 2021 PDC hit the Earth and is just a simulation for disaster. All right.
Yeah.
In Jakarta, recently the social media universe has been enlivened by predictions of the 2021 PDC asteroid that will hit Earth. The circulating narrative also states the world's population will flee to Indonesia. In fact, the 2021 PDC asteroid is part of a simulation in the Planetary Defense Conference in Vienna, Austria, which was held on April 26th through the 30th of 2021. The United Nations is one of the institutions that initiated the conference. By the way, there's a UN meeting happening right now in New York City, and the guy, the president or whatever, prime minister, I don't know what he is, the leader of La Palma, the Canary Islands, declined to go. He said, "I can't go during this emergency."
No.
So he didn't go.
If it falls into the sea anyway, you could get a free lift over to America anyway on the shockwave, so it's all good.
Stop. All right.
Yeah.
Here we have, this is a 4-page NASA document talking about, says, and notice it says exercise only. 2021 PDC exercise 2 days, March 2nd, 2021. The new data confirmed asteroid 2021 PDC will impact within Europe or Northern Africa in 6 months. And this was presented at the 2021 Planetary Defense Conference, April 26th to the 30th of 2021.
Yeah.
Notice it says exercise only. It says, let's see. So here's the impact zone that it would hit.
That it would apparently hit.
They're predicting that it would hit.
The calculations.
Exactly.
So I used to be worried about stuff like this. Like we were great. They used to show us stuff about debris up in the in space and whatnot, and the plans that they may or may not have to be able to deflect these things. But now, knowing the truth, it doesn't bother me at all, because at the end of the day, if this falls into this agenda that they this, not only the fear agenda, but the are we alone in the universe agenda that they've got pushing really hard, then I don't really think there's anything you can say about it. We know that this so-called alien agenda that is going to be put on the table is all going to be fake. So if that's going to be fake, what's to say that the asteroid or meteor agenda that they keep pushing as well isn't fake as well?
Exactly. And we're showing you that they do. They do have the technology available to simulate this event.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't doubt it for 1 second.
Right.
I
Okay.
don't doubt
So, given all of that, Robbie and I were speaking earlier, and I asked what the proposal of this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
In the Bible, Revelation chapter 8, verses 8 and 9. Robbie, why don't you go ahead and talk about this, because you said that there's two interpretations of this verse.
There's two interpretations from where I believe. I mean, Revelation 8, verse 8 through 9. Then the second angel sounded, and something like a great mountain burning with fire was thrown into the sea, and a third of the sea became blood, and a third of the living creatures in the sea died, and a third of the ships were destroyed. Now, that could be interpreted as maybe a volcano crashing into the sea and causing the devastation that we've already gone through in the last couple of days. But also, what I remember is that something that I spoke about, was it last night or the night before, when we were doing the live stream of the La Palma volcano, and I discussed about the Japanese tsunami and the subsequent disaster at Fukushima prefecture at the nuclear power plant. Now, the events that happened, just to run it short, is that the reactor core melted, had a meltdown, and part of it actually broke through the floor and seeped into the sea. Also, they used a lot of seawater to try and cool the rods.
Yeah.
A lot of the sea was contaminated. Like major areas of the Pacific was contaminated to the point where the sea life was dying. The fish was uncatchable. It was unedible. There was absolutely no way it was safe for human consumption. A lot of the sea life died. Yeah. What people need to understand is that the Pacific Ocean, its volume is exactly 1/3 of the surface of the Earth, as in the ocean.
Wow.
So when they talk about the sea life dying, literally 1/3 of the Earth's sea life died from that event. Yeah, which goes into scripture of Revelation 8, 8 verses 9. So there's two interpretations there playing out. One that's already taken, one that's already happened, and one that is yet to come to pass. Yeah, whether it will come to pass with that volcano, only time will tell. But you know, there's good sign. There's signs of it. You know what I mean? It's I say it's concerning, to say the least, considering that what we've spoken about tonight is that these volcanoes, these volcanic eruptions, don't seem to be naturally occurring, as in where they can be manipulated. Volcanoes, earthquakes, tsunamis can be generated. And if you think this is just a wild conspiracy theory, look into HARP, people. Look into what happens when the HARP system is activated and what happens in the sky, and then cross-reference it with what happened on the morning in Japan before the earthquake took place. Look at the sky. Look at the video of the sky. Yeah, I mean, this is an avenue of research that you really need to look at. It's quite concerning, really.
We've always thought that the earthquake that caused Fukushima was man-made, totally man-made.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I asked Robbie a question on in a biblical sense. Underneath the crust of the earth. Now, this goes whether it's flat, round, square, I don't care what it is, but underneath the crust of the earth, there is what's known as the Sheol, right?
Yeah. I very much care about how the earth is, because not only the fact we've been lied to, it's very important, as you say, in a biblical sense, of what is beneath the earth. We've been led to believe that we're on a spinning ball, that in the center of our earth, that there is a molten iron core right at the center, without any proof whatsoever. Yeah. You know, we've been led to believe that. We've been told this through our school system since birth, through the movies. Remember the film The Core, when the iron core, the molten core had destabilized and stopped spinning, and because of that, the Earth's magnetic field was weakening, and they had to put a nuclear bomb in. Remember that film, yeah?
Absolutely.
But yeah, it was, you know, I'd say it's pure science fiction, but the only thing that was real from it is the earthquake machine that they showed you. Sure.
They not only showed the earthquake machine, but they also showed the machine that bores out the tunnels.
Yes, that's right. So, according to the Bible, underneath the earth, underneath, I mean, the earth is supposed to be stationary, yeah, sitting on 4 pillars. But underneath the earth, there's, I'd just like to point out that we can only go 14 miles. The furthest that we've ever drilled is 14 miles.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. You can't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's no machinery. There's no equipment that's gone beyond 14 miles. But according to the scriptures, beneath the earth we have Sheol. Yeah, which is, there's 2 places. There's Sheol, and there's Abraham's bosom. Right, Abraham's bosom is where the righteous go, the waiting area. Sheol is the waiting area where the unrighteous go, where they can actually see hell. Yeah, in the distance. Now there's 2 places.
That consists of molten lava. You might
Well,
say,
there's 2 places. There's hell, and there's the lake of fire.
Lake of fire.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and the lake of fire is where the demons and the fallen angels.
The lake of fire is where you don't want to go.
Right.
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 Hell is where you'd rather go than the lake of fire. Right. Yeah. As bad as hell is,
yeah,
the lake of fire is much, much worse. Yeah. Molten lava, blah blah. You know what we're literally seeing coming out of the earth at the minute. Yeah, this red stuff that's coming out of that volcano is a bit unusual.
Exactly, and that's kind of what I'm getting at is, you know, Robbie, when we look at these images of the volcanoes erupting, how many times have we seen demonic faces in the smoke?
Quite a few times. I pinpointed it out about 4 or 5 times a couple of nights ago.
Exactly. So when you look at it and you know that this molten lava is coming up from underground, from under us, and that is the place where these entities are being held.
I mean, there's another name for Sheol, is Gehenna. I don't know if you're aware of that terminology, Gehenna. This is something we're going to have to do a show on, and whatnot. It's something that really needs to be discussed, really, about Sheol, and especially what happens to you once you pass this realm.
Well, what I'm kind of getting at here is the fact that this is from a video that I did on CERN back in 2014, and talks about CERN, or Cernunnos, being the horn god of the underworld. While I was doing the research on that video, this is what I came across. I came across an incantation to Cernunnos, and it talks about opening the doors that has no key, the doors of the stars where men come. Now, if we go back to the Bible here, it's not Revelation. it's talks about the opening of the abyss. It talks about how fire coming. Let me try to find it. I thought I had it pulled up. So scripture. Okay, opening the bottomless pit. So it would be Revelation chapter 9, verses 1 through 12, and it talks about the bottomless pit being opened up, how the angel comes down from the sky carrying the key to the bottomless pit, opening it up and letting these entities out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, CERN, we know, has been opening up these portals and letting things in without the key. And like I said, this is the incantation that talks about opening the doors without a key. CERN being the key. We know that the elite over the last, I don't know, thousands of years have been pushing towards the prophecy. They've been pushing forward to actually fulfill prophecy out of bounds, you might say. Because it's not God fulfilling the prophecies, it's them trying to fulfill the prophecies.
Mm-hmm.
So
we're trying to fulfill it or offset it. One of the two.
So when you look at it and you have all of these things that they have the capability of using, they could very easily put forth.
Yeah, they can open the door, but they can't keep it open. Yeah, we've seen the video. We've seen a lot of videos of UFO activity and whatnot, of these entities manifesting, and then doing what they're doing, but then at some point disappearing and coming back. We've seen videos of entities changing shape into various things and then disappearing back into the realm it came back, and then like coming back because it doesn't want to be where it was before, and then panicking and changing shape into various things like dragons and whatnot. Yeah, and then disappearing back into the realm where it went. It's a very famous video as far as UFO videos are. It's a very, very disturbing video. We know that the abyss is that they want to open the abyss and keep it open. Well, that only happens when the key is given. Yeah, when the veil is lifted, when the Most High lifts the veil, when one of the seals is opened. Yeah. It's not the fifth seal. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to get my scriptures out, and we're gonna have to do a show on it. But we know that at the moment they can't keep it open yet, but they are trying to find a way to permanently open, keep the to break down the wall between the two realms, between this realm and the realm of where they're at. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's, I mean, with CERN, I'm playing the video. I'm not doing the sound on it, but it's going to come up here on a slide where it's going to say that even the scientists at CERN said and admitted that they were opening up portals, and they were opening up these things and letting entities come through that they have absolutely no idea about. Let me see if I can get to it real quick. Actually, these are some of the places where there are stargates around the world. I'll just let it play out. I'm gonna up it just a little bit. Here we go. So it's not going so slow. I've actually seen the one in Phoenix, Arizona. It's at the Central in can't remember. It's at the Central bus terminal or train station, Camelback and Central. That's where it is in Phoenix. So what I was just trying to get to is the fact that they are opening up these portals, and they have now. We saw the image when here we go right here. Let me stop this. Oops, stop it real quick. Okay. One attempt to open a portal took place where the ancient Stargate type device was discovered in the ancient site of Babylon, which is modern Iraq. Top physicists at CERN admitted that something may come through the portal at LHC, and that was Sergio Bertolucci, a director of research and scientific computing at CERN. He actually said this. And I'm not going to go that far. Let's do this real quick. Go forward here.
Oh, look, art imitating light.
Exactly. Okay. I'll put the link so you guys can watch it in the description area below. So you guys can watch that. But I was more interested in these two things, how CERN or Cernunnos is the horn god of the underworld, and how they have the capability of opening the abyss without the key, without that angel coming down in the book of Revelation to open up the door. They have that capability. And how do they have that capability? Yeah. Well, they have the capability by not even opening the door, but just opening up the whole damn gate.
Yeah, but the problem is they can't keep it open yet. That's the problem. They can't go. At the end of the day, you can't go against prophecy, the scripture, right? You know, it's just like it's the same. You know, they'll try as much as they can, but at some point it will be opened permanently. That's the thing. It will be opened, right? Yep, the key has to be given.
Exactly.
So to the angel of the abyss, you know, to open up that gate, to pour whatever is going to come through onto the earth, and that's going to be a very, very terrible day for the people of the earth. Let me tell you that now. You know, exactly. we talk about lots of stuff, but this is one thing that people need to keep their attention on, because this is the day when horror and science fiction becomes reality for a lot of people. And like it says, men's hearts will fail them for what is coming on the earth. Literally, people are going to have heart attacks and drop down dead. Yeah, that's how scary and how serious the situation will be for them, because they'll see things that they never thought was possible. You know, we're not talking about the things of Hollywood where you're sitting there watching movies of fantastic things that you think, wow, God, imagine seeing that. But then imagine actually seeing that, coming on the earth, and you're thinking, oh my God, what the hell is going on here?
And now with the holographic technology that you've got, they could even put the images of these things coming and flying out at you, and you wouldn't even know it.
It's going to be a very strange time. I believe that.
Exactly.
I definitely believe it. Yeah.
But the bottom line is we're not being told about these things. The mainstream media is not telling us about these earthquakes or about these volcanoes coming active again. I have showed you guys that they've turned off the buoy system. A lot of the buoys along the east coast of the United States are not giving out data. They're not active. Mary Greeley channel here on YouTube. She's been around forever. Mary talks about Yellowstone. We know for a fact they've shut off the USGS has shut off their monitoring system in a lot of places in Yellowstone. They've also shut up a lot of them up in Alaska. You know, you would think with all of these active volcanoes right now, you would think that they would make sure that the buoy system, especially with La Palma going up, you would think they would have the buoy system up and running and ready to go. And you would think that all of the USGS seismic monitors would be working, but they're not. Very alarming and very suspect to me. If you ask me, it's very suspect.
Well, just
so,
like
right, just like everything else is, exactly.
Yeah, they're under the sun with these guys, you know what I mean? And you know, we're ripe for some events, a lot of events to take place, literally.
Literally, exactly.
Imminent.
All right. Well, unless you've got anything else, that's all I've got to present tonight.
Oh no, well, there was, but something that Marty was talking about been
What's
talking
that?
about over the last few days, and it basically he's starting to concern me because once he focuses on something, he starts pulling up all kinds of information, and he's been talking about Nipah, and he's been showing me all the patents,
Of
and
what?
the patents for Nipah virus,
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh,
yeah,
he's still okay. He's still on that. Okay.
and yeah, he's pulling up some scary information. There's some of the
Now, is he
patent
pulling up the information about it that has to do with the frequencies?
to do with the whole thing, the whole
Mm.
creation of it. I will save it for another day. But
Yeah,
it's,
why don't you and him plan on a show over on Twitch? That's not something you would be able
I
to
don't mind.
present
Yeah,
here.
yeah. I don't know if he because he's kind of busy, but I've got no problem pulling the information up and doing a show about
Yeah,
it.
you won't be able to do it
Looking,
here, but you would be able to do it over on Twitch.
yeah, exactly. Yes, and then we can upload it to Rumble. But yeah, people need to be made aware of this because it's becoming. It seems to be the next thing in line. Put it that way. It's
Okay.
yeah. And we'll
Alrighty.
say again whether real or imagined, they are going to use this as a tool to beat you over the head with.
Yeah. Okay. We will we'll gather that together, and you can we'll present that over. Like I said, it has to be on Twitch. It can't be over here because it's the thing we're not supposed to talk about.
That's right.
That's all right.
Yes.
Alrighty. Well,
Yeah.
okay. I will be back tomorrow at 12 o'clock Central Standard Time. That's my local time with tomorrow's News Blast. I do have a couple of things that I'm holding back that we're going to talk about tomorrow and show you guys. And so, yeah. All right.
Yeah. A big
right.
thank you to everybody that's joined us tonight. We've got quite a sizable audience tonight. 156 people in 3 chat rooms.
150, 160 that we've had. Pretty good. Thank you to everybody. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you know when we go live. If you're new over on the page, hit that like button, hit that share button with your friends so you can share the information. We are terribly shadow banned across social media. So you sharing our live streams helps.
Shadow band isn't as bad as shadow blocked. Veritas had a whistleblower. I don't know if he was aware of it, this nurse.
Yep.
And she put out a video and it was blocked on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah.
That's not surprising.
The only place it wasn't blocked was Twitter and YouTube. Yeah, they were discussing it today on the Instagram.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, BRT sent me the Veritas drop a little, this afternoon when it came out. I knew it was coming out today. He had told me last night we had talked.
Yeah, the mechanic got censored in the group because he posted it up in the group and he had it removed. So that puts paid to any conspiracy theory about it being removed on Facebook. Yeah, Facebook were on it, Instagram were on it. The censorship. It's a continual running. It's a running theme.
We play duck and cover, bob and weave. You name it, we have to do it because we get censored. I only guys, if you don't know, we're on Twitter also, and I've been trying to put some stuff over on Twitter for us. Try to get the page to grow. It's just like one more thing to remember to do.
Yeah, it's pointless at this stage.
I just mostly put our videos up over there because it's very, very, very censored, and I don't even like to play over on Twitter. Instagram, again, we're over on Instagram. I don't really do too much over there. I may just do it every once in a while, only because of censorship. It's really bad. The censorship is horrible.
Yeah, we've got an Exposing Satanic World Government over on Instagram as well, people. If you want to go over there, it's just a lot of memes and stuff and the odd video and that and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But it's just playing cat and mouse.
Exactly.
I came back last week after after a 47-day ban on Facebook. Yeah.
Never heard of that before.
No, literally 47 days.
They
Pretty much
made a
before.
punishment up for you.
Yeah. I was banned for 7 days, and then I got my foot. It was another 7 days, and then there was 3 days here, and
Yep.
and then 30 days. So that's a total of 47 days. And
I still can't, like I said, I still can't go over on. I can't go live
and
on.
I couldn't go live for
Yeah.
90 days. Yeah, 90 days. So I've still probably got about 40 days left.
Yeah, I don't
Probably
know.
more now.
It doesn't tell you how long you're
Yeah.
not allowed to. It just pops up and knocks you when you try to. You can't
Yeah.
go live. Even if
So
I go
anyway,
in, like,
I've come back. I did a live broadcast
Yeah.
last Sunday. Not a problem. I did a broadcast on Thursday. Sorry, not
yeah,
a problem.
no problem.
I put up a TikTok video for 1 minute, a 1 minute TikTok video with a foreign politician or president talking about that. You know what? Yeah, got a 30-day ban.
Yeah. I don't even know. They didn't even tell me what I did. I just can't go live, so
Yeah.
I don't even try anymore.
I didn't even appeal. I didn't even appeal it. I didn't go against the decision. I didn't appeal it. I didn't dispute it. I ignored it. I just ignored it. Yeah.
That's
And a
funny.
day later, they said, "Right, you're having 30 days. Get on
Yeah,
that step
exactly.
there. Get in that little cubby over there.
Yeah.
Sit there. Shut your mouth. You're not going up. You can't." And then they decided that I've got another account, people. Yeah.
Yeah.
They censored that one as well. I can't post on it. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Charity, no, Mechanic does not have a YouTube channel. He's got them taken down, but he is live over on Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. That's where you can find the Mechanic. Revolution Radio. Just type in into the Google search freedomslips.com, freedomslips, all one word, freedomslips.com. I believe he's in Studio A. Pull up the studios, look to see what time he is. I know he's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then he's again in the middle of the night a couple of days. I think he's got 3 days on Revolution Radio.
Yeah.
But he got tired of his YouTube channels being taken down. I don't blame him.
I don't blame him either.
No. All right, guys, that's all we got for you tonight. Robbie's got to go to bed. I'm going to bed, and we'll be back tomorrow at noon.
Indeed.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, guys, thank you for joining us. Thank you to the moderators in the chat room. Thank you for everybody for joining us. Until next time, remember, eyes open, no fear.